pleasure to be here. I gotta start this off with a Go Big Blue. I'd love it if y'all would follow with me. Go Big Blue, go Big Blue, go Big Blue, go Big Blue. What an honor, what a privilege it is to be here. And without further ado, I'm grateful, I'm honored, I'm pleasured to introduce the 45th and 47th President of the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say.
You just saw a clip of Jason Dart, the quarterback for the New York NFL football giant football team, and he has taken vitriol from all sides, to include his teammates. So much so that he had to sit down with Jameis Winston and others to appease their political sensibilities of a 21-year-old having the audacity to introduce, as he says, the 45th and the 47th president of these United States. Aside from him chanting "Go Blue," I love everything that Jason Dart did, except that he's kowtowing to his teammates. And he even said that he reached out to the defensive player who posted on social media, "What the heck?" And so, brothers and sisters, it's time out for timid Christians. And we need to put on our big boy pants and our big girl pants. And we need to stand boldly. We need lions and lioness. We don't need house cats. And so, brothers and sisters, God has not given us a spirit of fear. You're going to hear that in this video clip. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Thinking Critically from an Evangelical Worldview. My name is Ricky. I pray that you would find this God glorifying and man edifying. And if you did, you would join the Thinking Critically family. You see, I'm still in my Cape Town swag. Just got back from Cape Town this Thursday. Had a great trip. I'll be sharing more about that in the coming days. I just want to show you this short, I believe it's right around 2 minutes. This is the loft, the presidential loft that I stayed in for the last 2 days after I left my sports tour operator hotel. I stayed 2 additional days in Cape Town, and this is where I stayed the last 2 days. Take a look. Keep in mind, this cost me 188 American dollars for 2 days. Just want to give you a little view of my hotel stay. Unbeknownst to me, I reserved the King Suite. So this is the downstairs, the living room. You can see it's quite nice. Has a bathroom on the first floor. Well, half bath on the first floor. Should have started here. And then I'm gonna head upstairs. It's a little kitchenette. Great view of the city. Be a little better later today. Look at the skyline. Now I'm about to head upstairs. When I first got in, I was like, what's going on? Was able to take a bath today. Hadn't been able to do that in years. It's all been showers. So we're upstairs. Sleeping area. Bathroom. So we get in the tub this morning. So it's really quite nice. All right. And this is the view from down here. Oh, that's nice. Hey guys, if you're not retired, hurry up and retire. Ricky Bobby out. So that just gives you just an inkling of my accommodation. Now you saw that, brothers and sisters, there's a TV downstairs, a TV upstairs. I never used it because when I come to vacation, one of the last things I want to do is stay in a room. And that's one of the reasons that I haven't not been producing videos. I was just having too much fun, too much things to do. And of course, even in the times I was there, I didn't get a chance to do all that I want. And so, brothers and sisters, I'm going to keep my sister, Nancy Denny, in front of you, asking for your prayers. You see, she's wearing the Team Ricky Bobby shirt. And so closing the chapter on Cape Town, and starting next week, I'll start my training for Sydney, and I'll have a little bit more to say about that. I had an opportunity to see Nancy before I left. The latest report I get is she is still improving. She's at a rehab center, and I'm definitely going to make my way over to see her in the next couple of days. My next release of the Daily Reckoning, you can see it right there on the screen, will be episode number 27. My last one was All Sin the Same? That is a distortion of Scripture. And brothers and sisters, you have probably said at one point, sin is sin. And that cannot be any more categorically, unbiblically true. All sin is not the same. If I kill you, that is far greater and far different than killing your personality. I'm sorry, your reputation. That's the word I was looking for. And so to malign your character is different to kill you. But the Bible says both of those are murder. And then just go look at a passage like John chapter 19, verse 11, when Jesus says to those that were physically involved in his crucifixion, he says, you have committed the greater sin. And so greater displays a quantitative difference. And so all sin is not the same. All sin will send you to hell, no doubt. But brothers and sisters, some sins are greater than others. And so every day, what I keep saying every day, as often as I can, I produce what I call the Daily Reckoning. It's 3 minutes. And it's a quick nugget of biblical truth. I pray that you would check that out. That is some of the inventory that I seek to offer. Excited. Now I'm back, and I'm back in my routine this Wednesday, Lord willing, at 7 p.m. Central Time, 2 days before Ricky Bobby's 62nd birthday. I will be hosting a live stream. You should be familiar with the uproar from Hakeem Jeffries and other race hustlers who are advising our Negro athletes to boycott schools in the South, based on the recent Supreme Court decision to strike down the Louisiana congressional districting maps, which were based on race. And brothers and sisters, I'm locking and loading, getting ready to show you, to tell you, to inform you, to argue that no one should be aligned with a party that promotes partiality based on race. Brothers and sisters, God is no respect of person. And so God hates partiality. And so God would promote what's called meritocracy. And so, brothers and sisters, that is one of the main reasons of many that the Negro community, and again, you might prefer Black or African American, I use the moniker Negro. I've explained that in various videos. Looking forward to tomorrow that I will be releasing the Sunday Seersucker. And you see me, that's the last one I did before I left for Cape Town. I was then wearing my Team Ricky Bobby shirt, like you saw Sister Girl Nancy. I try to do this on Sundays. I'm typically dressed up. I won't be tomorrow because I'm still celebrating from Cape Town, but it's the Sunday seersucker. And so, brothers and sisters, if you're new to the channel, what you see on the screen now are the three theses that ground my arguments, my worldview. That is, you see it, America's under the judgment of Almighty God. The Negro Church has apostatized writ large. And then finally, no evangelical seeking to be faithful to the Word of God can, in good conscience, align with the Democratic Party as presently constituted, period, full stop, and end of story. Now, that's Ricky's worldview. This is one data point why I make this argument. Look at how Negro, Black, African American evangelicals, these are professing Christ followers who say that they believe in the same Bible that I believe in. Yet, they have no problem voting for someone who supports the killing of life in the womb, that thumbs their nose at God's declaration that a man shall leave his mother and his father and cleave to a woman, a wife, and become one flesh. And then they, the Democratic Party, promote gender fluidity. And brothers, for that reason and those reasons alone, and then I like this one as well. These are the very people that go to church, and they'll be doing that, Lord willing, if the Lord tarries is coming, they'll be doing that tomorrow. And yet come election season, whenever that might be, the midterm, race, whatever race is coming down the pike, look at how Negroes vote. Starting with, and again, these are the last six. Keep in mind, Bill Clinton was a two-term president. Barack Obama was a two-term president. And so these are the last six presidential candidates. And look at the amount, look at the volume of Negro, Black, professing Protestant evangelicals who they voted for. That's why I make the argument that America is under the judgment, that the Negro Church has apostatized. And then finally, because of what I call the big three, no evangelical seeking to be faithful to the Word of God. Brothers and sisters, I've said that so much that, I don't think I need to say it much more. But listen, that's my worldview. But what you now see on the screen, and I said, we're going to be coming back to that 1 Timothy passage. God has not given us a spirit of fear, but a power and of love and a sound mind. And so, brothers and sisters, if you have a sound mind, whatever you say in public, you will never have to retreat. Yet I'm going to show you through recent days and even in previous generations, not too long ago, prominent athletes have made statements, and then when the pressure came, they wilted, they folded like tents. And that's why, brothers and sisters, you hear me, you're going to hear me in almost every video. You got to call balls and strikes. And you got to do it with full chest. You got to do it with conviction. And you got to do it understanding how can two walk together except they be agreed. Amos 3:3, one of my favorite passages. Let's get into this conversation about Jason Dart. Brothers and sisters, a passage, again, I said 1 Timothy, it's 2 Timothy 1:7. For God has not given us a spirit of fear. Here's my question. Why are some public figures pressured to shrink back? One of the greatest blessings I had, me and my father were able to go on a short-term mission trip, and we spent a week in Jamaica working with a local church. And the local pastor preached on Sunday, and I still remember his sermon title then, "We Cannot Shrink Back." And now, keep in mind, he's preaching to people who lived in what we would say third world conditions. And so they didn't have the luxury of what we have here in America. And yet he was telling them, in spite of their economical struggles, their social political status, that they were being admonished to not shrink back. So, courage or fear. I just want to pause here and show you one data point. And brothers and sisters, please know I am not saying this to curry favor or sympathy. And so I made a stand supporting Jason Dart. And this is just today. It doesn't come as a surprise, but brothers and sisters, it always comes as a surprise. And so this is a Facebook group by the name of Black History Facts for Scholars. And I've just joined it, and I quickly learning these are not scholars. So I'm supporting Jason Dart and this guy Kyle, while you literally supporting the people who protect pedophiles, sick ass F boy. And if you're gonna fake like you black, at least get our dialect down. I think he was saying get our dialect down. We don't say dude, Connor. I use the term dude a lot. And then, but I wanted to show you this. Here's the last comment by Adam Mack. And so misspelling, but I think he's trying to say coon nigga. So this is the vitriol. This is all in the day of a person who seeks to do, one simple thing. Who simply is seeking to do this. Taking no part in the unfruitful works of darkness, but instead expose them. That's all I'm doing. That's all I'm seeking to do. Yet, that's what comes with the territory. And so again, I didn't show you this to say, I want your sympathy. I want your prayers. I do want your support. And I do want you to subscribe to the channel. But I just want you to know, brothers and sisters, we are called to be light, to be salt. And the Bible tells us if we are not that salt, we are good for nothing than to be trodden down by men. And so this comes with the territory. Jesus told us we will be hated because they hated him. And so it's not woe is me. I'm blessed, I'm highly favored, but I know what I'm up against, which is why, and let me come to you. I need your prayers. I need you to be praying for me like you pray for all people who are trying their very level best to speak for God into this culture. And brothers and sisters, let me just say, I pray that you would find this God glorifying, man edifying, and if you did, you would join the thinking critically, family. And then I'm going to ask two additional things. I'm going to ask that you would, again, add me to your prayers. And then you would share my content with somebody. Would you be a blessing to me? I'm seeking to be a blessing to you. And brothers and sisters, we need to let our voices be heard into the public square. So that's just an inkling. So now let me get back to it. And so if you don't know, this is what happened. Dart, the quarterback for the New York Giants, you see him at a press conference. He dared to introduce Donald Trump at a political rally. And criticism, an avalanche of criticism followed. Major media commentary, social media backlash, and criticism from some observers. It raises a larger question. Why should lawful political association require an apology? Why should Jason Dart have to go to his teammates and say, I did this because, no. And so there's a double standard. And so no one went to, I shouldn't say no one, but brothers and sisters, Colin Kaepernick, he was lauded. ESPN and covers of countless magazines. And so athletes support causes every day. Athletes, Arthur Ashe, Jim Brown, the list goes on and on. They speak on race, politics, justice, elections, activism. They endorse candidates and movements, and that's their right. So why does outrage suddenly intensify when the politics are unpopular with the critics? Brothers and sisters, this is another example of selective outrage. Jason Dart has much right to go to a rally and support Donald Trump as any other person has a right to support Kamala or whoever. And yes, you're open to criticism, but brothers and sisters, you're open to criticism that's consistent with a worldview. And so, brothers and sisters, I would criticize you if you were a professing Christ follower and went to a Kamala Harris event. Then I'm going to express my criticism because you are not being consistent with your faith. I told you there were some in the recent past and there were some in the previous past, a couple of decades ago. And so you might not know who this is, but this is Reggie White. He has soon left Earth, and he died of what's it called when you sleep with the sleep apnea. And so he had sleep apnea, died in his sleep. And he was an ordained minister, Hall of Fame defensive tackle, one of the greatest in NFL history. He spoke while playing for the Green Bay Packers. He spoke at a Wisconsin legislative meeting. And he was making arguments about how different ethnicities, and he took on criticism. And he immediately backtracked. See, that's not a lion. Mean what you say and say what you mean. And then, brothers and sisters, let me go back to that passage. And if you got a sound mind, whatever you are saying, you don't have to apologize because it comes from a sound mind. It comes from power, and it comes with love, a love for the truth. And with a sound mind, you don't have to apologize. Yet, that's what Reggie White quickly did. Some of you are going to recognize her. It's Caitlin Clark, who even though I don't watch the WNBA, she is probably the best player playing for the WNBA. And what makes her different is she is one of the few heterosexuals. And she is vilified by her own comrades, fellow NBA players. And so she came out, and then when she got too much press attention, black Negro athletes started criticizing and saying, hey, what about us? What about us? And brothers and sisters, people in the WNBA have become richer because of Caitlin Clark. They just signed a contract where their salaries, even though, drop me in the comments if you watch the WNBA. Even though they get poor ratings and poor attendance, they have they have raised the salaries by 6, multiplied by 6, and it's not all, but principally because of Caitlin Clark. And so Caitlin Clark illustrates how public figures are pulled into larger issues, whether they want to or not. And because she backed off of her comments and she said, oh, it's just not me. I'm on the tails of other blacks. Well, those other blacks, Sheryl Swoopes and those other people, they didn't move the needle. But it's because of Caitlin Clark that now, for one instance, let me come off screen. One instance, WNBA players are now flying charter flights, where before they were flying just like me and you, coach. in the back. Now, because of the popularity that Caitlin Clark, and it's not all Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, other players, but at the brothers and sisters, at the top of that list is Caitlin Clark. And now the NBA players are prospering. Yet, Caitlin Clark, because she's not strong enough. She's one of the few heterosexuals. I think it's well over 60% of the WNBA players. And at some point, I'm going to do a feature. Her name is Aziz. She went to Connecticut. Her teammate at Connecticut, both she and her are now on the same team, and they were boyfriend. You know, it's hard to describe, but they were in a romantic relationship. In which they claimed that that was off limits for a journalist. Were asking questions, how would that dynamic play out? And the press agent for that team quickly shut it down. And so, brothers and sisters, Caitlin Clark is another example of a white liberal who is bending over backwards to apologize. Apologize for being a heterosexual. Apologize for being a great white basketball player. Apologize for being popular and driving the needle, which other people. Let me give you one example. Tiger Woods came in and he made other golfers rich. And eventually they had to say, wait a minute, why are we negative towards Tiger Woods and he is making all of us richer? TV contracts, sports endorsements. Same thing with Caitlin Clark. And sadly, Caitlin Clark apologized for being great. And that is what Jason Riley would say, please stop helping us. Hey, if I could say something to Caitlin Clark, you're not helping, you're hurting. And I don't know if you are a Christian, but Christians don't shrink back. Christians don't apologize for God blessing. And Christians know if God be for us, who can be against us? Shame on you, Caitlin Clark. But again, she's a young girl. And Jason Dart, 21 years old. If I could speak into Jason Dart's life, I would tell him, man up. Don't apologize. But let's continue to move. And so, brothers and sisters, we do not have a spirit of fear. The third time, 2 Timothy 1:7, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Here is my question to you. Why have evangelicals become too afraid of criticism, too afraid of the backlash, too afraid of guilt by association? Brothers and sisters, I am a proud conservative. I am a proud evangelical. So let me back up. I am a proud evangelical. I am a proud conservative. And it's in that order. And I don't apologize. And yes, that's going to have people. And I'm losing my arrow. Let me get it back. I can't find it. Okay, there we go. Well, it keeps disappearing on me. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that. Yes, it's going to have people calling you coons. Just so you know, I got 3 screens and the arrow got off of one screen and I had to find it again. And so that's kind of the behind the scenes or why it's not a challenge, but it is a challenge. And so thank you for bearing with me. But brothers and sisters, as I try to regain my train of thought, brothers and sisters, taking a stand will have you receive response like this. And so, go back to how he starts. He says the GOP has a sexual assault as an entry fee. So making reference to Donald Trump and the allegations. And so let me say in this video, because you might be watching it for the first time, I did not vote for Donald Trump. That is not to say I didn't support the platform. I do. I just said I'm a proud conservative. I'm a proud evangelical. And so I have nothing to do with the Democratic Party. And so I can walk and chew gum at the same time. And yes, Donald Trump is problematic. Yes, I look forward to 2028. And then what's going to be their excuse then? But brothers and sisters, let me stay on task. God has not given us a spirit of fear. And so I'm not afraid of guilt by association. Bring it on all day, every day, twice on Sunday. I will stand for truth as best I know it, and I would allow whatever comes to come. Whatever comes will be. So, are you seeking to please God or man? Because Galatians 1:12 says, Paul writes under the inspiration of the Holy Spirit, for do I now persuade men or God? If I yet please men, I shall not be the servant of Christ. Brothers and sisters, my only concern is to be a servant of Jesus Christ. So let me leave you with these two questions. Should believers retreat whenever criticism comes? Or should conviction remain stronger than fear? I think if you are paying attention, you know where I stand. And so here's the bigger issue. This is not about Donald Trump. In fact, I tried to prime the pump, is to say, hey, this is not me making a defense of Donald Trump. This issue is about Jason Dart and the backlash he is receiving. This is about courage. This is about conviction. This is about public pressure, and it will be. Jesus told us, and say, I love the fact that Jesus tells us all of this up front. It's not in the fine print. It's right there. Jesus says, if any man desire to come after me, let him first deny himself, pick up his cross. Jesus said, if you follow me, you'll be hated. Jesus said, at least the Bible says through Jesus is the word, that the student is not above the teacher. And so we were told up front. And so here's the simple question. Are you going to stand? I love how Paul says it. And having done all, after he talks about the breastplate of righteousness and the shield and the sword and how he trod at his feet, he said, having done all, stand. Yet what we see the Reggie Whites, we see the Caitlin Clarks, we see even early Jason Dart shrinking back. And so believers do not shrink back. Why has fear become so powerful in today's modern culture? So let me land this plane and ask these questions. Should Jason Dart apologize? That's kind of a rhetorical question. Would criticism be different if the politics were different? Most assuredly. What should evangelicals learn from Reggie White? Mean what you say and say what you mean. And if you do that, then you won't ever have to apologize. And finally, how should Christ followers respond to public pressure? Well, we respond by being steadfast, being movable, by always abounding in the works of the Lord. And then God tells us, then our living will not be in vain. That is how we respond. We respond how brothers and sisters have responded for the last 2,000 years. Martin Luther said, "Here I stand." It's alleged he has said, "Here I stand. I can do no other. God help me." And the list goes on and on and on of Christians not shrinking back. That's why I dedicate my life to this channel. I don't care to what degree it grows, not ultimately. I care about only my faithfulness. And so I'm going to encourage you to join the discussion. You can do that by, first of all, the best way you can do that is by clicking like, subscribe, and notify, and join the Thinking Critically family. And then you can be an active participant. That's giving me feedback in the comments. I don't care about likes. That's passive. Give me feedback, especially if you disagree. But if you disagree, do it in a way that's God glorifying, not with mockery. I told William Harrison, "Dude, you're too old to be this stupid. You are an embarrassment to all black people." He is. And listen, I call balls and strikes. I told you that's my meat, that's my drink. I'm gonna call balls and strikes. And I'm not here to be nice. So join the discussion. Let me remind you again, this Wednesday at 3, it's June 3rd. That's why I said 3. This Wednesday, June 3rd at 7 p.m. Central Time. You can join me as we talk about the boycott that Akeem Jeffries. So I saw one figure, and it's not been verified, but he's worth $2 million. And so, as they say, he's got his bag. And so he has his bag, but he's telling these young 20, 18, 19, 20-year-old black athletes that they should not get theirs. So join me this Wednesday, 7 p.m. And if you can't, of course, the live stream would be uploaded after the live stream ends. From time to time, I'm just going to be sharing some of the highlights of my trip to Cape Town. I have developed this tradition, and one of those traditions is to get a portrait made. And so, and this was a blessing that it cost me only $53 when I had a similar portrait made in London, $125. And I think this is the best thus far. Hey, so brothers and sisters, I'm seeking to call balls and strikes, and because I do that, I believe what's right there on the screen. I'll give you a few seconds. I've already said it. If this is not your first time, it's not going to be anything new. America's under the judgment. The Negro Church has lost it. And then finally, no Christ follower should have anything to do with the Democratic Party. So if you want to grow in your Christian apologetics, learn how to defend the faith and engage these difficult questions and to think clearly or think critically through a biblical lens, then I invite you to subscribe to my channel. My goal is real simple. I want to help believers think clearly and stand confidently from an unapologetic evangelical worldview. As I land this puppy, starting this Tuesday, I will begin my training for the TCS Sydney Marathon. That will be the Abbott World Majors number 8, meaning I would only have Boston left. It is now rumored that Abbott is going to be adding Shanghai, and so we'll see how that plays out. I'm having some knee issues, and so I'm definitely committing myself to Boston. And so after I run Sydney, I run Chicago every year, and so what's left for me this year would be Sydney and then Chicago, and then hopefully I can get into the Boston Marathon in 2027. So brothers and sisters, I'm going to keep this in front of you. I'm trying to recruit a team for the Selma to Montgomery relays. That is always the third Saturday in March. That's going to be March 20th, 2027. I'm looking for 8 additional runners. You can see it's 9 legs, one, legs 4 and 5 are highly elevated. So that just kind of lets you know what you would be getting into. And so we would have to determine who runs what leg, and whoever runs 4 and 5, just know up front that those legs are going to be highly elevated. And so I'm looking for committed, serious-minded, conservative evangelicals. If you are one and you are a runner, doesn't matter if you're fast or slow, come join me that we can put together a team for Selma 2027. Again, I pray that you would have found this God glorifying, man edifying. I just want to make a quick appeal. It's quite probable that you might be watching this and you're not a believer. And so I'm going to beg, plead that you be reconciled to Christ. You do that, it's the ABCs. I'm going to make this quick. A means I admit that there is a problem. B is that I believe that Jesus Christ is the only way. The only way to have peace with God. And then C, I confess Christ as my Savior. And brothers and sisters, it's now 10:02. It is May 30th in the year of our Lord 2026. By the end of the day, 20,000 people will not be here any longer. I'm going to beg that you be reconciled to Christ right now. There's the story of the two girls. They said, hey, this Sunday, we're going to give our life to Christ. And Sunday came by God's providence. They went to church. Invitation is given. And then the moment of decision comes, the only one comes forward. Of course, they talk after church and he says, why didn't you follow through on what you said? She said, I got cold feet. I'll do it next week. You already know. Next week never came. I beseech you now to be reconciled to Christ before it is too late. Real quickly, I talked to one of my friends just yesterday. Her partner, that's how she classifies them. She says, I knew her partner was struggling with cancer. And so we talk every so often, and I just, I try to every now and then check in. I say, hey, how's he doing? And she says he died in a car accident last Tuesday. So here's a guy who was struggling already with cancer. Don't know the prognosis, but he was battling. Yet in the midst of that battle, God took him home in a car accident. That's why I beseech that you be reconciled to Christ right now. And so, brothers and sisters, in the coming days, Wednesday, the live stream, I'm going to be talking about issues about IVF. That's going to be the next live stream. There's a social influencer who has made millions of dollars telling women that they should live in a hookup culture. And she's become a multimillionaire. That is why I believe that America is under the judgment. The Negro church has apostatized, and finally, no evangelical. Brothers and sisters, it's only the Democratic Party that's promoting this moral insanity. Okay, we're now at 43 minutes. This is a good time to stop. I pray that you would join the Thinking Critically family, that you would click like, subscribe, and notify. Would you add me to your prayers? Would you remember Nancy in your prayers? Well, until the next time, keep your hands to the plow and seek to serve for an audience of one.